Drones have become a popular way to capture footage. Sometimes a drone in the right place at the right time records really shocking footage for posterity. In this video, we bring you the 15 most chilling things caught on drones. Number 1. Blind old man lost in freezing temperature for more than 33 hours. Sometimes people go missing, however, when they get lost in the outdoors when the temperatures are in single digits, the missing person is elderly and legally blind, and it becomes a race against time as the event could be fatal. That was the cause when the Enfield Police Department was contacted about the disappearance of 62-year-old Richard Doty. Doty had not been seen in more than 24 hours. By that time, the police had reason to believe that he had been exposed to very low temperatures for more than 33 hours. The police department quickly marshaled its resources to track poor Doty. However, nothing was working, including the K-9 unit. They even contacted other agencies in their urgent search, including the Vernon Police Department, but Doty could not be found. That was the moment that Sergeant Todd Thiel received a call to help with the search effort. They urgently needed the help of a drone to locate Doty to try and save him from a gruesome death due to hypothermia. Thiel is one of Vernon Police Department's drone pilots and rushed to Doty's home, where search efforts were coordinated. After a quick debriefing, Thiel then got his gear out and instantly got the drone running. He was hunting for anything that he could see or identify while using both the digital camera and thermal imaging. However, Thiel's job was made difficult by the thick woods where Doty was suspected to have been lost, and seeing things from the air would be difficult in that situation. Apart from that, there was pressure on Thiel to find something before it was too late if Doty could ever be saved. Thiel's drone would be flying about 100 to 125 feet above the ground, and he was quickly scanning the area for something, figuring out what he was looking at. The key thing was heat sources, which the drone tracked. Thiel nearly jumped out of his skin when his drone picked up a possible heat source, and after a few more moments of uncertainty, the expert drone operator announced that he had discovered something. After alerting the Enfield police officers, a crew containing firefighters would rush to the scene to investigate, as every clue was vital. There, they then found Doty on the ground. He was carried by firefighters out of the woods, but alas, the story would have a happy ending as Doty was actually alive. He was quickly whisked away to the hospital, where he then received life-saving treatment. Thiel's drone had literally saved Doty's life, and he's now recommending that other police departments make investments in drones and train their officers to use them, as they could be the difference between life and death. Number 2. Creepy and haunted hotel in Malaysia. Would you stay in a hotel that's haunted on the other side of the world? Well, probably not, but thanks to a creepy video, you can virtually live the experience. The outward appearance of the Amber Court Hotel, located in the highlands of Malaysia, is the stuff of horror movies. The facade is partially covered in red, like blood seeping out of the concrete. The builders set out to construct a resort in the hilltop entertainment city beside a massive tourist attraction. However, that tourist attraction would never be completed, and so was the Amber Court Hotel. Stories of paranormal activity in the building abound, despite the fact that people occupy it. Some folks are comfortable around ghosts. There have been stories of suicides as well among the residents. Most of the 23 floors are actually not occupied, and you can understand why. Not when the current occupants have reported sightings of a headless woman, hearing blood-curdling noises from women and doors slamming on their own. To cap it all off, an actual horror movie was filmed at the location, cementing the hotel's reputation as the abode of ghosts. Number 3. Elusive Bigfoot finally captured by a drone. Bigfoots have fascinated humans for a long time, but their existence has never been utterly confirmed because these creatures are allegedly adept at hiding from full view. However, with numerous cases of sightings, you knew it was only a matter of time before a drone somewhere would catch one. And won't drone footage be the ultimate proof of the existence of Bigfoots? Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, is a giant ape-like creature that some people believe roams North America. It's sometimes referred to as a cryptid or a species that's rumored to exist, and just like the Chupacabra or the Loch Ness Monster, there's scant physical evidence to suggest that Bigfoot is actually out there. Bigfoot did become more prominent in pop culture when the Humboldt Times, a local newspaper in Northern California, would publish a story about the discovery of giant mysterious footprints near Bluff Creek, California. In the story, they referred to the creature that made them as Bigfoot. Other reported sightings boosted their popularity, but hard evidence had been hard to come by. That may no longer be the case thanks to a video from a drone that was filmed in Idaho. YouTuber Hardpack101 would post a short clip which allegedly shows the mystical creature in broad daylight, but you can see the creature quickly seeking cover in the trees. It would be filmed at the Hawkins Reservoir about 35 miles south of Pocatello. The video generated a lot of attention online and was watched more than 500,000 times in a short span. Meanwhile, Idaho is quite popular for its alleged Bigfoot sightings. In fact, one professor at Idaho State University, Jeffrey Muldrum, has been hunting for Bigfoots with drones in order to demystify the creatures. Number 4. Massive graveyard with millions of dead bodies. Sometimes drone operators point their equipment at locations that sends a chill up people's spines. How do you like footage of a massive graveyard containing the remains of millions of people? Here's a chilling video of what's been described as the largest mass grave site in the world, and you can attest to how unsettling it is. The name means Valley of Peace, and it's hard to imagine why there wouldn't be peace in this location. Wadi Salam Cemetery in the city of Najaf in Iraq covers more than 1,485 acres and keeps growing as more dead bodies are deposited there on a daily basis, the majority being Shia Muslims. Currently, the cemetery covers 13% of the area in the city. In fact, during the height of the war with the Islamic State, this cemetery would receive more than 250 dead people per day. Wadi al-Salam Cemetery is considered to be the spirit of the city because it's visited by millions of Muslims from various parts of the world. The first bodies interred here arrived in ancient times before the Middle Ages, but it now holds the remains of prophets and notable historical figures like the kings of Al-Hira and its leaders from the Al-Sasani era, king companions, sultans, princes of the state, and many, many, many more. One of the morbidly fascinating things captured in the drone footage is the different styles of eternal resting places that are discovered here. Ranging from lower graves to higher graves or towers, officials say that despite the whole place looking like a giant maze that's waiting for visitors to get lost in, there are plenty of ways of burials inside, special rooms that are allocated to each family, as well as the way of burial inside vaults, where rooms are carved underground, and the way of getting down to them was by ladder, which included the remains of quite a number of the dead. Number 5. Creepy, suspicious clown in the middle of nowhere. There was a time when clowns were popular for entertainment. With their brightly colored costumes, they became a staple of children's parties and festivals. They were fascinating because they were mysterious, as nobody knew who was in the costume. They're also scary to children in a friendly way. However, thanks to the emergence of a wave of crimes that have been committed by criminals hiding in clown costumes, clowns have taken on a dark reputation, and even adults are now terrified of them. When people see clowns, especially in dark or deserted places, their sense of danger heightens. Many people will remember 2016 as the year of the Great Clown Scare. It was a time when people dressed as clowns and hung around spookily, terrifying people all across the United States and Canada. So you can imagine the terror of this drone operator when he sighted a brightly dressed clown in a deserted cornfield in Alabama. The video shows seemingly innocent footage of a cornfield, corn blowing in the breeze and nature doing its thing, but the figure of the clown, totally unexpected, understandably spooked the drone's owner. Dressed in a bright orange top, luminous yellow braces, and a curly wig, the curious-looking clown leans forward to get a better look at the drone. Realizing what it is and that he's been discovered, the clown then runs through the rows of corn towards the woodlands, turning back as if scared, eventually escaping the drone. However, are things as sinister as they may seem? Number 6. Ghost of a young girl haunting a forest. One more thing that people fear and are fascinated about is ghosts. There are debates as to whether or not they're real, but what is abundant is the reported sighting of ghosts by people. With the advent of drones, we're finally going to see the end of the debates, or are we? Check out this drone owner that claims to have picked up a ghost in the woods at Cannock Chase. Ghost aficionados know about the story of Cannock Chase, and there have been numerous reports of ghosts wandering in the area. The area is reportedly one of the most haunted places in the UK. The sightings of what seems to be a person dressed in light-colored garments has gotten paranormal enthusiasts wondering whether it's an apparition of a spooky black-eyed child that has fascinated them for decades. The figure appears to be hiding behind a line of trees in what could have been a plowed area. She even seems to use her left hand to sweep her hair out of her face. There's an urban legend that exists since the 1990s saying that ghost children with eye sockets that are pure black and no irises allegedly roam the countryside, whether hitchhiking or panhandling. Sightings in the US and the UK, they can also turn up on the doorsteps of residential homes, according to the legend. In fact, residents that were not comfortable with seeing ghosts were reportedly moving away from the area in order to avoid seeing the ghost of a little girl whose appearance seems to match the footage from the drone. Does this drone footage convince you that ghosts do truly exist? Number 7. Clever chimp smacks down a drone with a stick. Drones don't last forever. While they do risk running out of battery midair, some of them meet a violent ending at the hands of animals that don't appreciate their privacy being invaded. Ironically, these drones manage to capture the last few seconds before their demise, and it's oddly satisfying sometimes. Take, as a case, this unfortunate drone that got too close to a chimpanzee. It was promptly brought down by the chimp that used a stick, and the animal was catapulted to internet fame. The drone was being used to film in the Burger Zoo in the Netherlands. The drone had already flown by in a practice run, at which time it caught the attention of several chimps in the enclosure. During that flyby, several of them were seen grabbing twigs and climbing up toward where the drone was hovering. But when it came back, the chimps were ready. 2 females perched where the drone was going to hover, holding long twigs. Interestingly, primatologists that examined the video said their faces showed exertion but not fear, indicating that they were acting deliberately and not acting in terror at the foreign object. While it is sad that a perfectly working drone got damaged, it's impressive that the chimps took their weapons, stored them, and unleashed them at the right moment. Bear in mind that no humans taught these chimps how to use the tools. The zoo said they learned to use at least 13 different tools simply by observing humans within the zoo. The chimps also always select the right tool for the job. Number 8. 1,000-year-old buried village uncovered by drones. It's not every day that you discover a 1,000-year-old village, and a sensational find like this one was all thanks to drone footage. A series of drones would help archaeologists to locate the abandoned village in the desert of New Mexico, now known as Blue Jay. Dr. John Kantner, an archaeologist at the University of Florida, had studied the landscape that was located in the south of Chaco Canyon for decades. However, it would take the intervention of drones for him to finally discover the location of the extinct village. Thermal imagery revealed more than he and his team ever knew about the ancient people. Kantner said that the drones saved them days of work that they would have had to have done. One of the most interesting discoveries is that of Kiva, a ceremonial structure where people would meet for worship and decision-making, but they unearthed other rooms within the ruins as well. What they found has shaped our understanding of life and what it was really like for them. We've learned about their culture and even their technology, but we have drones to thank for the discovery. Number 9. Unsettling wasteful bicycle graveyards in China. Now, we talked about human graves in Iraq, but what does a bicycle graveyard look like? It borders on both creepy and impressive, as a drone video from China will show. China never ceases to amaze in everything that it does, which includes bike riding. Thanks to a bubble burst in the bike-sharing market, the country now boasts dozens of massive bike graveyards. Wu Guoyang would send his drone skywards in order to get a panoramic view, and the ensuing footage is a testament to what occurs when there are massively more bikes than there are riders. The video is fascinating enough that it's been watched more than 44 million times on QQ. Languishing on the dump sites are bikes from Ofo, Bluegogo, Gobi, Mobike, and more. In 2017, competing bike share businesses began to flood cities around the world with more bikes than they could handle, in hopes of dominating the market and squeezing out the competition. With Ofo raising more than $2 billion from VCs in just 3 years, it had more than enough cash to spend on the bikes. The rapid growth vastly outpaced immediate demand and overwhelmed the Chinese cities, where infrastructure and regulations were not prepared to handle a sudden flood of millions of shared bicycles. Riders would simply park the bikes anywhere or just abandon them, which resulted in them piling up and blocking already crowded streets and pathways. As cities impounded derelict bikes by the thousands, vast piles of impounded, abandoned, and broken bicycles became a familiar sight in many big cities. As some of the companies who jumped in too big and too early have begun to fold, their huge surplus of bikes can be found collecting dust in vast vacant lots. Number 10. UFOs captured on drone for the first time ever. Bigfoots are supposedly land-based creatures whose existence has not been confirmed. But they're not the only ones in that category, as objects in the sky, known as UFOs, have also remained elusive. However, drone footage might be what finally nails them down. UFOs are exciting and exotic and literally out of this world, as they presumably have extraterrestrial origins. They've been portrayed in films and literature, making them popular. The only problem is that there has not been definitive evidence that they do exist. James Cawley was operating his DJI Mavic 2 Pro in the Moab area of Utah when two ovular-shaped objects streaked past the screen of his equipment. They were so real that Cawley involuntarily reacted to them. Interestingly enough, though, Cawley was aware of the reports of the U.S. government, which did not rule out the possibility of UFOs. However, on this day, he was not out to capture UFOs, saying that the most obvious assumption would be that these were bugs or birds. I've seen many of them flying backlit like this over the years. What made me question these objects was their speed. Since I had a Tiffin 1/8 neutral density filter on, the shutter speed of the video is 1/60th of a second, and my drone was less than 200 feet above me when I saw these pass. I turned to watch them fly over the horizon behind me, and they glinted like metal from the low sun. So what did viewers think after viewing Cawley's video? Well, opinions vary. Some said that it was simply a bullet or a racing drone, but it was not likely to be a bullet as the average bullet travels at 1,700 miles per hour, which is too fast for Cawley's equipment to have captured. Besides, Cawley reported that he didn't hear a thing as the object whisked by, even though the area was completely quiet. A bullet would have produced an echo through the red rocks. Number 11. Drone captures dangerous tiger sharks tearing apart a humpback whale in Australia. Sometimes a drone happens to be at the exact location where nature is taking its brutal course, and the scene is not for the faint of heart. This particular footage, captured in the waters of Australia, shows a group of eco-tourists inches away from the sharp teeth of tiger sharks. It was so close, in fact, that the tourists could reach out and touch the greedy sharks, but of course that would be inviting trouble and the result in the loss of a limb or two. Marine life can get scary, as this drone video shows a group of about 70 tiger sharks feasting on the body of a dead humpback whale while directly under 2 loads of tourists. The feeding frenzy would be captured by an island tour company using drones and GoPros. Some of the sharks are over 6 meters long. Tourists were exploring from the Geraldton to Broome area, where they got treated to something to regale their grandchildren with. One of the visitors exclaimed, "This was truly amazing to witness this act of nature. The drone and GoPro footage far exceeded my videos and pictures." And it's easy to see why. You can see as the sharks encircle this unfortunate whale and bite off chunks of flesh, leaving the normally crystal clear water a shade of crimson. How did the whale end up as food for these tiger sharks? Well, nobody knows. It probably died of natural causes, but tiger sharks are not above killing for food. Number 12. Drone captures the full horror of the Chernobyl disaster. Chernobyl remains a no-go zone, and the reason is understandable. The Chernobyl disaster of April of 1986 was one of the world's worst nuclear accidents. The explosion and subsequent fire would lead to a number of harmful radioactive particles being released into the air and contaminating much of the surrounding areas with lethal levels of radiation. That led to acute radiation syndrome and long-term illnesses such as thyroid cancer. Pripyat, which is situated just 9 miles away from the Chernobyl power plant, was completely evacuated within days of the disaster, with a majority of the city's residents being rehoused in the city of Slavatich. However, humans may be barred from visiting, but not drones, and we can finally have a glimpse of what the eerie city looks like now. This incredible footage shows the city that was completely evacuated. The city once boasted almost 50,000 residents with 25 shops and 10 gymnasiums, but the nuclear tragedy of 1986 would forever alter the trajectory of the town. The footage, captured by British photographer Danny Cook, shows a ghost city that's frozen in time more than 3 decades later. It remains untouched by the dissolution of the Soviet Union, as there is Soviet iconography dating from the Cold War period. It also shows how the city has become a place of neglect, with many of its streets and buildings being overrun by trees. The eerie images show a fairground littered with rusty dodgems, a disused Ferris wheel, a room full of gas masks, and even rows upon rows of abandoned blocks of flats. Number 13. Close shave with shark while kite surfing. While you may enjoy videos posted by social media influencers, you may not know the price that some of them pay for those fabulous and short clips. Isabelle Fabry regularly updates her followers on her adventures around the world. However, a particular clip that was shot on the coast of Australia nearly cost her life. The social media star was kite surfing when a great white shark decided to join in on the fun and began to circle around her. It's quite unnerving to see the dangerous animal so close to Isabelle in the video, just a few feet away. Isabelle's friends, one of them whom would be filming, quickly realized the danger that their friend was in, but Isabelle thought the shark was the shadow of her shadow. However, after some hair-raising seconds, she then realized the grave danger that she was actually in. She tried to escape by veering to the side, but the wind was not cooperating. However, luckily for her, she was able to splash onto dry land and in time to escape becoming an unwilling snack for a shark. Did that ordeal stop her from kite surfing? Well, no, not at all. Number 14. Pig dies a gruesome death in the mouth of a crocodile. Crocodiles have a very diversified diet and are not shy to display it for a drone to capture. This particular reptile is a saltwater crocodile, which can grow to over 20 feet in length, and this is 20 feet of an efficient killing machine, as a pig would soon discover. A drone was at just the right place to capture the croc, literally bringing home the bacon off the coast of Bio, Papua New Guinea. The unlucky pig appears to wear a leash, which would indicate that it was used to be somebody's beloved pet, but not anymore. It was now a crocodile's dinner. The villagers reported that the crocodile in the video had a habit of sneaking into the village and making off with their pets. What's scary is that these crocodiles don't hesitate to grab humans as well. Number 15. Drone captures a bomb going off in Libya. Sometimes drones can capture human-made intentional carnage, and it can't be more chilling. This scream-inducing photo was captured by a drone flying over a compound somewhere in Libya. The blast would be caused by a car loaded with explosives speeding into the direction of the compound. It turned around a building and sped toward the parking area where a group of people would be waiting. Upon sighting the car, the crowd knew that something was wrong and tried to escape the impending destruction. However, it was too late for most of them. Only a few had escaped to safety when the bomb went off, and the rest were sadly blown into pieces. The car would be driven by an ISIS operative on a suicide mission. The defunct terrorist organization was rumored to be using drones to spy on their targets. In fact, the drone that captured the photo was apparently operated by ISIS, explaining how it was able to be at the exact location of the senseless tragedy at the right time. Not all drones are harmless or even friendly. Let's hear what you think is the creepiest footage ever captured by a drone in the comments section down below.